Thank you for joining us for another informative, educational, and entertaining edition of Music and Medicine with Dr. Charles Modlin, kidney transplant surgeon, board-certified urologist, public speaker, and well-known community national leader for the elimination of health disparities, dedicated to informing you, the listening audience, about important health topics and health information that you, your family, and your community need to know, while at the same time providing you with quality entertainment, because music and entertainment is medicine. Dr. Modlin's co-hosts are Jerome Brown and registered nurse Jonathan Branch, and the program often includes special content expert guests. So, without further ado, here is the host of the show, Dr. Charles Modlin.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another exciting episode of Music and Medicine. My name is Dr. Charles Modlin. I'm a urologist, kidney transplant surgeon, and I welcome all of you to this very important topic that we're going to be discussing tonight. We're going to be discussing a very sensitive topic that we don't always talk about. It's homelessness. And we know that homelessness is a major problem in the United States. It's a growing problem. And we're going to talk to Tonya Perkins-Stoudermire, who actually has innovated a specific program here in Cleveland and Northeast Ohio to address the homeless situation, especially and particularly in women. So I want to go ahead and welcome my co-host, Jerome Brown, to the platform. Hey, Jerome, how are you doing tonight?
What's going on, everybody?
We're surviving a very warm summer, but we can't complain. You know, pretty soon we're going to be complaining about it's being too cold. So,
hey, I love it. You know, I had to think about this, Doc. I said, the older I get, okay, they used to ask you the question, would you rather have the snow or would you rather have the heat? That's the big question here. And the older I get, this year was the first time I said, you know what? I think I can deal with 90 degrees over the snow because I just still like to move around a lot. You know, I have a lot of stuff going on. So I changed my mind this year, you know.
But that actually relates to what we're going to be talking about, the homeless situation. And these are individuals that are out there in the elements, day in, day out. And a lot of times we forget about them out there suffering in the heat and also in the cold. It's a growing problem. It's estimated that there's 500,000 homeless individuals in the United States. About 216,000 of those individuals are actually homeless women. And many of those women actually have children with them also.
Wow. And that's alarming. And we all have been, well, a lot of us have been close to homelessness or even homeless for that matter. And there's no point in time where you feel at your lowest point is when you're homeless. Personally, you know, you feel defeated. So, you know, we help out when we can.
And, you know, one reason why this is an important topic for music and medicine is, and, you know, everybody can understand this, being homeless is also associated with individuals having a higher incidence of a number of chronic health conditions. You know, when you're homeless, you don't have proper nutrition, shelter. A lot of these individuals actually suffer and die from a variety of infections. They don't have an opportunity to undergo routine physical preventative health maintenance, checkups. Many of them are diagnosed with advanced states of cancer, hypertension, diabetes, and other conditions. It was interesting and sad. I read that the average life expectancy of a homeless person is only 50 years old.
Wow.
And males, the average life expectancy of a homeless male is about 56 years, and that of a homeless female is even lower, 48 to 50 years. Usually women are living longer than men, but not in the situation of homeless individuals. We're going to actually have a special guest musician on this evening also, Mr. Obed Shelton, and many of the listening audience are aware of Obed and his music. A phenomenal violinist. I've actually had the opportunity to see him perform at many concerts, galas throughout the community over the last 20 years or so. So I know the audience is going to enjoy listening to his music as well. So I wanted to go ahead and invite Obed to the platform, and also Tonya Perkins-Stoudermire. And we want to thank both these individuals for joining us. Hey, how you guys doing this evening?
Pretty good, thank you.
Yeah,
doing well.
Yeah, thank you for both being with us. So again, we're talking music and medicine. We know that the arts are very important in terms of uplifting the spirits of all of us.
Oh, yeah.
And when we talk about our health, we also have to remember about our mental health, our emotional well-being, our spiritual health. And that's why we've combined the subject matter on this platform, where we talk about, medicine, important health topics, but we also want to infuse it with some entertainment as well, which we all need. Yeah. So Tonya, go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience.
Well, good evening. I really appreciate that you have invited me to your platform. I am very grateful for that. I'm always looking forward for the opportunity to talk about a demographic of young people that's virtually invisible.
Right.
And so again, my name is Tonya Perkins-Stoudermire, and I am the founder and the executive director of Bessie's Angels. And the mission of Bessie's Angels is to nurture, educate, empower, and provide low-income housing for young women who have been impacted by foster care. And so what I want people to know is that all of the young people that have been impacted by foster care experience several traumas. And it has been, and I think Dr. Modlin, you can talk about this, how trauma impacts you and impacts your health. And so a lot of them wind up homeless. We have a couple of hundred young people who are emancipated out of foster care every year.
Wow.
And that's just people who are emancipated. And when we talk about emancipated, that means that no one came for them, that they turned 18 and they were no longer a part of the system. We have other young people who may have been reunified with their families and it didn't go well, but for whatever reason, they did not enter back into the foster care system. So Bessie's Angels' goal is to do just what we said. And when young people are traumatized, when anybody is traumatized, nurturing becomes really, really important. While we help with housing, we also help with immediate needs, medicines. We have young women who have these various illnesses and they cannot afford medication because either they're going to buy their medicine or eat. It's the same challenge that our seniors have. And so Bessie's Angels is here to wrap our arms around them and connect them to the services that their traumas are preventing them from accessing. And when they can access them, we provide what they need.
So how long has your organization been in existence, and how did it come about?
So how it came about, the short of it is my grandmother, we named the organization after my grandmother. She was a spiritual mentor for me. And so when she passed on, I wanted to find something that I could give to people and pour into people as she, my mother, and other women in my life had poured into me. And so I worked for a financial institution, and as I prayed my way through, foster girls started showing up, and they were showing up with these stories that would just break your heart. And no one was there to say, let me encourage you. What about self-respect? You have to think highly of yourself. This is how you take care of yourself. And for many of you on this call, I know Dr. Modlin, you have a daughter. I know Obed, you have a daughter. And so women, you have a daughter too, Jerome?
Three.
Okay. So,
I have three.
So you know the role that a man plays in the life of his daughters. And when you are without a mother and a father, and you're just finding your way, there, and all women, if we're going to be honest, we might show up looking a certain way and dress nice, but we have the same road to travel. And so I was inspired after seeing the challenges that these young people are having, knowing, that I fully well would have been them had it not been for my parents. And so that's how Bessie's Angels came about. We started around about 2011. We officially became a 501c3 in 2015. We will have our 10th annual walk next year, the first Saturday in June. The walk is our largest fundraiser. It allows us to buy young people medicine. It allows us to pay. We have rental assistance. We have utility assistance. We have a pantry. We have a laundry. And all of these things we do because you see a young person walking around and they're not clean, and we just assume they decided they weren't going to do their laundry. Well, most of us who are working every day don't go to the laundromat. We have a washing machine. The laundromat is extremely expensive. And so if you can't feed your daughter because you washed her clothes, well, guess what? Everybody will be dirty.
How over the years, how many women would you say or estimate that maybe you've impacted?
So our young people come and go. And I would say each year we average about 50 young people. Last year we did a lot. I think we must have touched the lives of about 300, but we did it through a variety of different ways. But our goal is to provide services ongoing. So we might give you a bus pass. We might give you a food card. We might help buy your gas, but we want to see you again. Because if you live a life where there is no love and nobody is paying you attention and nobody is saying, this is how you take out your garbage. This is how you wash your sink. So our goal is to touch 100 lives consistently every year, not 25, not 50. We have a partnership that we're putting together with a couple of the high schools. We're going to be in Tri-C. We've had a partnership with Tri-C for years. We're going to move that to monthly. So we imagine that in 2022, we will be excited to say that we will physically touch hundreds of women repeatedly.
I mean, Jerome and Obed, I saw a television report. I forget which channel. I think it was channel 19. You were featured, Tonya, talking about your walk. And I don't think you mentioned the fact that you actually provided housing for some of these women. You're paying their rent, mm-hmm. So they can actually have a roof over their heads.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when you look at, there's a fund called Bridges, and it's government run, and a young person can access rental assistance and those types of things until they're 21. The challenge is that we need to maybe hold their hands a little better, because most of the time they age out of the resources by the time that you're 21. And they're like a lot of people who weren't fostered, but living one paycheck away from homelessness. But the challenge is with the type of jobs that they're getting, job retention is difficult. So the minute they lose their jobs, they can't pay their rent. And now they don't have that umbrella because they're 22. And so what Bessie's Angels does is they can go to our website, they can ask for assistance. We ask a few questions. We make sure that they have a plan, because if I pay your rent today and you have no clue how you're going to pay it next month, we're kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
You still have the houses?
Yeah.
Yes, we have 3 houses. We have one on a really nice street in East Cleveland. It's a lot of the people on that street have lived there their whole lives. It's really has curb appeal. It's a wonderful street. Then we're in Cleveland Heights, and we're going to open a third Bessie's Place in Garfield Heights. And I tell people, a lot of people think we're a group home. We are not a group home. We believe in the roommate philosophy. So each young person has a roommate. We try not to put more than 2 to a unit. We have space for 3 to a unit, but we want them to learn how to live with other people. I'm a licensed realtor, and what I have found is that rents in the past 2 years have skyrocketed. And so if our young people want to live a certain lifestyle, they are going to need a roommate. But if you don't know how to live with someone, then you're going to always live in poverty. And so our goal is not only to help our young people, but we want to teach them how to be good roommates. We want to teach them how to be good neighbors. If you get home and there's trash in the front yard, it doesn't matter how it got there. It's your front yard. Pick it up.
Jerome and Obed, I hear about a lot of these devastating situations that are impacting our women of color. And I think it's incumbent upon the men also to take ownership of this and to offer assistance as we need to be protectors of our women who are out there struggling and suffering. And I know there are many fraternities, the 100 Black Men organization, other organizations that actually can get behind and support these efforts, Bessie's Angels, because, let's face it, a lot of the trauma that has been delivered to these young women has been at the hands of men. I hate saying that, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
So I think we have a responsibility to help solve the problem and help take care of these young women.
I think she partners with some organizations that can put them in touch with some men, and it's important that they see some men who are not going to hurt them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Who care
That's
about
true.
them and really, wow, he really helped me out, and there wasn't an agenda. He wasn't asking for something in return.
We have a gentleman, shameless plug, but he has a company, an undergarment company called Leading Lady. And every year he wants us, maybe twice a year, he says, pick young women so I can take them shopping. And so we just went this past Saturday, and what we did was we met before he got there. We had a talk with the young ladies. We had them have a list, and we met in Walmart, and we went department by department, and they can go down their list and pick anything they wanted. He did not give them a limit. And he walks with us, he talks with us, he talks to the young women. And when it's done, they have all the things they need, the necessities. If they wanted a rug, then he buys them a rug. If they wanted a comforter set. So they have, the cashier hates us because it's just trails of, it's only 4 young women, but each one of them have like 2 buggies full of stuff.
Yeah.
And he goes his own way after that. And so they get to see that a man can volunteer and do some things for you without expecting not one thing from you. And that is really an exception to the rule. And let me tell you, we have some great brothers out here. Look at the people that we have on this platform. And so we just need to teach our young women the importance of the valuing themselves. And most women in general don't realize they have the power. I keep trying to tell them.
It sounds like he's an angel himself. Are you sure? You said it was this organization is named after your grandmother, you said, or your mother?
Yeah, Bessie's Angels. Yeah.
So are you sure your grandmother didn't send him down?
You know what?
Heaven?
I tell people all the time, and I know it sounds cliche, but it's so true. I tell people all the time that Bessie's Angels belongs to God.
Yes.
It leaves the station, whether I'm in the conductor's seat or not. When I met the gentleman at Channel 19, I went into Subway. I don't even eat Subway. I was standing in there thinking, what am I doing in Subway? and he walked through the door. And guess what? His grandmother's name was Bessie.
There you go. There you go. Well, the work that you're doing is absolutely fabulous. It's needed, of course, and you're impacting lives for like generations to come, because you're helping the mom. The mom has the child. It's a snowball. It goes on and on generations. So we definitely appreciate your work, Tonya. And I have a question, like on the roughest days, because I know you have some rough days.
Yes.
Okay. How do you find time for yourself to separate you from your work?
I don't think I'm separate.
Okay.
I am deeply spiritual, and there's a difference between, being deeply religious. But I have an unshakable faith in God. And so while we are giving to these young ladies, they give to me.
Mm-hmm.
When they say, I love you, Miss Tonya, when they call me and say, which job should I take? You know, so on my roughest days, I pray through it because I'm immensely blessed.
Yes.
You know, I have a wonderful family. You know, I have great friends. Obed and I, we've done a lot of work together. And so I don't know that I can separate myself. I'm just grateful that my family and my friends don't require that of me. You know, so if I, you know, my husband sometimes his eyes raised like, okay, I got to get up at 2:00 in the morning because so-and-so, you know, this was pre-COVID. COVID taught us that we didn't physically have to go to people we could call Uber. Yeah. So I haven't gotten up at 2:00 in the morning in a long time, but there was times that I would get up in the middle of the night and all of these things would be happening. And so I don't know that I can separate myself, but I believe that God blesses me in a way that I can get time to myself. But our young people, I'm a part of them and they're a part of me. And the blessing in life is when people who avoid you come back, when they can say, you know, Miss Tonya, I hear you in my head. So I don't know that I separate myself. So
no, it's absolutely the perfect answer because that makes it authentic. You know, 100%.
Well, crazy.
Well, it's a fine line between crazy and, you know what I mean? So I get that. I have just one more question for you, Tonya. I know there's a lot of ladies that have touched your spirit throughout the years. Give me one example of one that really came in, no names, please, and really there's a success story at the end of this, you know, this situation. Like a little quick, this is how it was and this is how it ended, you know.
You mean one of our girls?
Yeah, one of your girls.
You know, we had
someone that you're proud of. Someone that you're proud of.
Well, okay, so I'm proud of a lot. There's quite a few good success stories. Yeah. But we had one young lady who was addicted.
There we go.
And we didn't know she was addicted. She had some behaviors that just, you know. And I remember she did something one day and she left Bessie's place. She stayed at Bessie's place and she left Bessie's place. And my sister and one of our board members went looking for her. And she was headed into the crack house.
Yeah.
And see, God is good because I think had I been there, I probably would have went in behind her and that was going to be a problem. But my sister, you know, and the other young person that was with her tried to tell her, you know, you don't have to do this. She said, yeah, I do. And she walked in with 2 men. The success story is that she's clean.
Amen.
She's working.
Amen.
She's in school. And she loves us.
There you go.
And so, you know,
and you're showing
that was a hard day.
And you're showing love to them, and so they're giving that love back.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this is very inspirational, and I think this would be a time for us to hear a little music, you know, from Obed.
Yeah, we can lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know, I thought as Tonya was flowing, I thought, well, maybe this would be the best time to play this one song, and I used the ones that were pre-recorded because these formats on the internet don't like the natural sound of the violin. I mean, it kind of distorts. So I thought I'd let you hear it. Like this was a song that I played, and I play hymns and gospel songs, right? And I played this with the Cleveland Philharmonic Orchestra, not the Cleveland Orchestra, but the Philharmonic Orchestra, which is it's an amateur orchestra, but it was a arrangement that I did of Precious Lord, the song. So I was able to play this for a Martin Luther King celebration at Tri-C several years ago. So this is it.
Thank you.
All right. Drum
So that was
roll,
Precious
please.
Lord, okay?
No, we had to put the drum roll on it first.
And it was a great experience. I've been able to do that twice in my adult life because, I studied violin. People thought I was going to be a violin player when I was in high school. And then it wasn't until I got to my second year of college that I realized that what I really wanted to do for a living was broadcasting, something in broadcasting. But I still kept up the violin because I love to play it. But in my adult life of playing, a lot, I've been able to twice arrange a song for an entire orchestra. One was with the Akron Symphony. I did Amazing Grace. And then one was with the Cleveland Philharmonic where I did Precious Lord. So that's the other thing I do.
Hey, look, you hit us with this song that was beautiful. We appreciate that. Now, let the audience know exactly who this man, Obed, is. We want to know a little bit of information about you.
Sure. Yeah. Now, one thing you'll notice that Tonya calls me by my real name, Obed, O-B-E-D. That is a biblical name. And my father gave me that name. He was a pastor in Cleveland for about 10 years before he got a job as a chaplain at the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield. So my high school years were spent in Mansfield. Now, when I went to Mansfield, I was the only Black kid in my high school. And they said, "What's your name?" And I said, "Obed." They said, "Obie?" I said, "Yeah, okay, all right, yeah, that's what it is." You know how people do. So I kind of kept it through college. And then when I got into broadcasting, way back in, I started and they said, "So what's your name?" So I was going to use my given name, Obed Shelton, right? And so my boss at WJMO, who happened to be, Lynn Tolliver, who just passed away a couple of years ago,
bless
was the one who hired me, first one who hired me in broadcasting.
God bless him.
But the news director there said, "I don't like Obed Shelton. I don't like how that sounds like you're stuttering for her." He was going to give me one of these fake radio names, like Jack Star or something like that. And I said, "Well, people in college call me Obed Shelton." He said, Obed Shelton. Okay, let's use that. So almost my entire career, broadcasting career in news, right, has been in Cleveland. So once I got that name, it was hard to, it kind of sticks, right? And I don't have it on tonight, but, I wore the bow ties and people connected the bow ties with Obie, blah, blah, blah. But when I started recording music, and now I have 3 CDs, I wanted to use my real name, which my father gave me. So if you look on the internet, you'll see Obed Shelton, right? Like that OBED. You look that up if you want to hear Precious Lord with the orchestra. And so all of the music that is on the internet has my real name, but I also linked it to Obie because I know people recognize that name. And I know it causes a lot of confusion. When I first started it, people would tell me, there's this guy who plays a violin and he's got a name kind of like yours, but he really plays the violin well. It's a different name. I said, well, it's me.
So nobody ever called you Opie, did they?
Actually, they did.
Oh,
but
they did?
more people call me Obi-Wan Kenobi ever since the Star Wars movie came out. That was my nickname wherever I went.
All day long.
When I was in high school, some people called me Opie off of Andy of Mayberry.
Yes.
Yeah. Now nobody knows what Andy of Mayberry is if you're under 50. So
I was watching it the other night. Great show. So how can people find your music? I mean, you have many videos on YouTube, and how can they get your album?
Right. I mean, I have a website, obedshelton.com, but I got to update it. I mean, I haven't updated it in years because I've been, busy doing a lot of other things. But like Tonya knows, I do videos. I've been working. I just completed a master's degree in nonprofit administration. So I've been doing that. And, I just haven't gotten around to the website, but I'm probably going to freshen it up. obedshelton.com. That's what it's going to be. If you go there, you'll find, the music that you're seeing here tonight.
So what's the difference between a violin? I don't know. What's the difference between a violin and a fiddle? Is there a difference?
Well, it's really how it's played. Like a violin this version of it is European, right? And when people usually hear violins, it's like a Right. That was the way people played the violin. Now the fiddle, what happened was, you had a lot of people from Appalachia, a lot of people from Africa who picked it up, and they kind of did it their own way. So it was more of like or like a fiddler's like. So it's really how you play it.
You put that funk on it. Yeah, they put that funk on
it. In the profession, like they call it now fiddle, especially American violinists. Like if you hear, I had a violin teacher who said, good fiddle playing comes down to this. So it's used interchangeably, but it's really how you play it.
So can you play the Charlie Daniels, The Devil Went Down to Georgia? No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
I kind of did that. But you have to have the rest of the music. Something like that.
Well, see, remember he challenged, the devil challenged him. They had a contest in the song. I don't know if you remember, Jerome.
No. What do you mean, Jerome? I don't even know.
First time.
well, he beat the devil in the song.
Okay.
Do you remember the song?
No.
That was 70s, man.
That was back in the 70s. You have to go back and listen to that. It was
I was
very
born
funny.
in 76, so okay. I thought it was before me.
Okay. It's a very funny song. Tonya, you probably remember that song, don't you?
Well, I was around. Listen, I was around in 76 for sure.
Okay. Well, I was too. So Tonya, how can somebody, a young woman in need, access your program? How would they find out about it? So
you can Google us. That's the easiest way. But our website is www.bessiesangels.org. And our contact number is 440-256-6663. Okay. And so they can find us either of those two ways. And if they can't remember, just Google Bessie's Angels. All kinds of stuff will come up, and then they'll be able to find us that way. We're pretty easy to find. We work with a lot of social service agencies as well.
So important question, again, because this is music and medicine. I'm a physician. I'm always thinking about the healthcare needs of the community. So I'm sure a lot of these women are going without their healthcare needs being met. And I actually work at Metro. I'm a urologist. I'm medical director of the Office of Equity, Inclusion, and Diversity. And Metro Health is a medical institution. It's been around 186 years. And we serve individuals whether or not they have the ability to pay or not. So we are a safety net hospital. We are a resource to where these women can come for their preventative health services and for their medical care. So I would like to work with you. After the show, we can work and we can figure out a way in which for your women, the women that you serve, to gain access into the healthcare system. Again, I mean, a lot of these healthcare conditions, you don't have to have any signs or symptoms. So these women their blood pressure needs to be checked. They need to be screened for diabetes, a number of other, problems according to, their age. And again, homelessness is a social determinant of health. So,
I would look forward to that. And I don't know if Metro still has it, but they actually had a program. They may have had a liaison to help foster youth, but our young people, everybody needs to navigate and be in charge of their health care. But it's really difficult for our young people, and they don't make the best health decisions. And so I appreciate your offering, because we need someone that can stand in the gap and make sure that certain things happen, even if it's a matter of us picking a day where we just get the young people together and maybe have a clinic, or I don't know what the solution will be, but a lot of our young people are not taking care of themselves. We've had young people who had COVID and they said, well, my nose is just running and I don't feel good. And so we give them COVID tests, and for sure they're really, really, and they just get sicker. So and they don't follow up. They have lasting things that happen after that, but because they don't follow up on their health care, one thing happens to another thing, and it's hard.
Women need, just like men, immunizations, they need mammograms, they need pap smears. There are a number of things that they need to be taken care of. Obviously I mentioned their blood pressure, their kidney function needs to be checked. So, so you heard it here. We're going to develop a partnership between Metro Health and Bessie's Angels.
I wonder,
like
Tonya, with a lot of Black men, there's this fear of submitting to the healthcare system, right?
Yeah.
Do you find that with young women too?
Oh, absolutely. See, I think that people. So we have Dr. Sonji Kenyatta, and she has a private practice. And when our young women have mental health issues, we recommend her. We send them to her because we have to remember that these young people have been to doctors. They've been in group. They've had counseling, but never has it been on their own terms. Never were they given any, and I should say never is a strong word, but it's unlikely that they had any say-so when they went to see the gynecologist. It's unlikely that they tell me over and over again, well, I don't want to go to counseling, Miss Tonya, because it's just somebody that's asking me all about me and never tell us anything about them. So we have to overcome the trauma of going to the doctor for these young women too. And so we picked Dr. Kenyatta. She used to be on our board, but she's so loving and she's so kind and she's so patient. And now, even when you have money, you go see the doctor and you need to tell them what you need, and they see you, they talk to you, but you got to kind of have to move on because of the way the system works. And so we need everybody that comes in contact with our girls, and I call them our girls, to nurture. We need everybody to be nurturing, because what you expect for them to know, they do not.
And that's a great point, because I wanted to ask you, are you helping teach them how to cook, how to live healthy lives?
We have a monthly cooking class. We have classes on budgeting. We have classes on anything that you can think of. And when they're at Bessie's place, we tell them we're on at least 2. Bessie's place is semi-independent. So while you're on your own, you're not, because we're coming in and out. And we're saying, this is how you tie up your trash. Don't put food down the drain. This is how you stop it from going down the drain. This is why you wash out your bathtub. This is how you do these things. And we do that with all of our young women. I'm going to contract. We have a young lady. She has a business called Task Fairies. And she's a former foster young lady. She was fostered, but she's older now. She's an adult. She owns her home. She has her own business. So we're going to pay her to run her program and to teach our young people at Bessie's place how to clean, because I'm old enough to be their grandmother and they don't want to hear from me because they've been told what to do forever, but they could probably identify with Tia. So we have to meet our young people where they are, and we're not. We're expecting them to know that we went by Bessie's place today. Garbage day was Wednesday. When we got there today at 12 o'clock, the garbage can was still on the curb. Yeah. So we said, why haven't you taken the garbage can to the back? She said, I didn't put that out there.
That's the mentality.
But we put it out there because you forgot to.
Yeah.
But you think she's being flipped, but she wasn't. She really meant, I didn't put that there.
Yeah.
So when you see a young person and they give you an answer that you cannot believe, right, we have to take the judgment out of it, because one, we're tagging them for being honest. We always tell people, you can be honest. Well, you can't really. So we're tagging them for something that they said, thinking that they should know better. But guess what? They don't.
I have a saying, Tonya, and my saying when it comes to situations like that is, the message can be lost in the delivery. So if you deliver it wrong, they'll never hear you. Okay.
Right.
I am a father. My daughter is 25 years old, ADHD.
Don't get in trouble now.
Yeah. So I've been in her life, so I know all too well what you're talking about and on how you handle mental illness and things like that. You have to be very considerate. You can't be judgmental, and you can't be too hard, because they'll rebel then.
Mm-hmm.
And once they rebel, it's hard to get them back, there's no telling what can happen, because a lot of these times these be life or death situations. It don't be just a regular situation. It be real life, and they have the perfect person to oversee this, which is you, because
thank you.
It takes a special individual. I told you were authentic earlier in this conversation. Authenticity. You're not separating yourself from the work. You are the work. The work is you. The mission is you. So that's the beauty in it. So I commend you and keep on going. I'm a single father that's into the same type of thing. So when you hit home when you said a couple of things, my daughter may live with me forever, and guess what? I'm fine with that.
Okay. Because one day you're gonna be old.
One day I'm gonna be old.
I can tell you from my interactions with Tonya is that she has I'll call it faith through a lot of disappointments, right? Because she does these girls that she interacts with, a lot of them break her heart, but she still keeps pounding. 10 years now. Did you say, Tonya?
Next year we'll be having our 10th walk, which is amazing to me because I didn't think I would be doing this. I didn't know what I would be doing. Some people have a plan for their lives. I just never really had one. I just kind of listen to the Holy Spirit and do what he tells me, or she, or whatever. I just do what God tells me to do. And I just, for a long time I fought this. I was like, you can't want me to do this. I don't even like women.
So Tonya, what kind of volunteers do you need to help you out?
So we're growing by leaps and bounds. I always tell people we need everything, but we're going to need people to facilitate our programs as we go into the high schools. Because when we start with John Hay, we are anticipating that we're going to be there twice a week for an hour. We're going to be at Tri-C once a month. So we need those type of volunteers. We need volunteers that don't mind coming in, helping us spruce up the house and do spring cleaning and, teach the girls how to dust and do that type of stuff. I've learned to find out what people feel that they want to do and let them do that. And so we always say we need everything because we have 3 houses and you have to do work. When you have a house, a house of your own is work, let alone a house that somebody else is living in, and they may not have the life skills or the understanding of how to keep that up. We have linen. We were donated linen, so we always need help sorting. We have a closet. We have Bessie's closet, so we need help getting the closet in order. So anybody out there who wants to volunteer and change a life, because you can change somebody's life and never see them. Yeah. It's like donors, and you would understand this, Dr. Modlin. You might not know where the kidney came from as the recipient, but you got one, and you know that somebody gave that to you were blessed with that. And so I'm just asking people to bless our young people. We always need money. Every organization needs money. So I tell people to use their human capital. You may not donate to us, but your company could. Yeah. You may not have those money, but your girl over there might be in charge of a foundation. So just think about us and know that we touch every part of a young person's life, whether it's feminine hygiene products, whether it's getting their hair done. And let's be clear, while it's important to give homeless kits and all of that, when we give our girls stuff, we dress it up. Because if you've never had anybody to give you some luxurious lotion, how do you know what that is? Yeah. If you get the money, how do you know what to spend it on? We don't give them anything that we wouldn't want for ourselves.
Absolutely.
We want them to understand what quality is. And so everything we do is to prepare them, not just for today or for tomorrow, but for their futures.
Do you accept food and clothing donations?
We do accept clothing donations. However, most people, once we tell them how we accept them, pass, because you have to separate them. You have to catalog them. You have to fold them so that all you do is saying here, and then we put it on the shelf because our young people don't have irons. Many of them don't have homes. When we give them something, we don't want it to look like they got it out of a bag, but we don't have the manpower to iron, sort, or wash.
Right.
I have one more question. So you mentioned that you're going into John Hay and Tracy. Specifically, what are you doing when you go to those
So
institutions?
we haven't finalized our agreement with John Hay, but they have a variety of after school programs. And so our plan is that when we go into any high school, we are going to teach all kinds of stuff, life skills. We're going to give them, they have all these different personality quizzes and tests, so you'll know who you are. We're going to teach them crafts and how to sew, but all of that really is going to talk about how do you love yourself at the end of the day. We're going to have book clubs. We're going to give them everything we think they need, but we're going to try to make it so much fun. We're going to have Bessie stars. So when you come if you come twice a week, you're going to get so many points every time you come. And those points will get you some kind of gift. Maybe it's a gift card. Maybe it's a luxurious robe. It's going to get you something.
So you're interacting with people the girls who are not necessarily homeless also.
No. So we do anybody 16 to 24 that has ever been in foster care, if it wasn't but for one day. Okay. So if you were in foster care when you were 5 for a year, and now you're 16, we can still help you. If you were in foster care for 3 years and now you're 18, you didn't emancipate out, but somewhere in your life you were in foster care, Bessie's Angels is here for you because you have the same trauma as that young woman who emancipated and got out of foster care when she was 18. She just wasn't reunified with her family.
Right.
Well, Jerome, this is outstanding information.
Man, heavy stuff, man.
Yeah, it's very heavy.
Goodness gracious, Tonya.
It's good news, but listen, it is heavy. But our young people, this is what I want people to know. Our young people are wonderful. Every young person, when they get 18, they don't want to hear from their parents. Even those that, live in fancy houses, when they get 18, they're tired of people telling them what to do. But see, we can hold things over our kids' head and we can snatch them because they're ours. But if you don't have, okay, so I'm going to be very transparent. When I was 32, I had 2 children. I was going through a divorce from a person that wasn't very nice. I was in Atlanta. I had to call my parents. I called my mother on a Sunday at 1:00. Said, "Mommy, I need to come home." She said, "Okay." Well, after they got through celebrating, she was like, "Okay, we'll send you a ticket for Wednesday." I said, "No, Mommy, I need to come home now." I was home with my 2 kids by 1:00 on Monday. Mm-hmm. Where would I have been with 2 kids and no money and no place to go had I not had parents that could afford to go to give me an airline ticket for 3 kids?
Right.
Might not have made it, Tonya.
That's right. So we all have challenges. We all make mistakes. I'm here to say, let's wrap our arms around these young people. Let's remember where we were when we were 20 and what we were doing. And let's just bless them, because these are the same young women that's having your sons or your kids. These are the same young women that's in relationships with your children. These are the same young women that you're going to meet at the hair salon and at the grocery store and wherever. We can't avoid them. And so let's show them love so that when we meet them on the street, they have been loved.
Absolutely.
So Tonya, you and I, we're going to connect. We're going to talk about getting these young women in for their health checks. But I think at this point, I think we would like to close out the program with another selection from Obed.
Thank you for having me.
Obed.
Sure. Well, first, before I do that, I'm curious. I've been trying to figure out what's the number on Jerome's jersey. Is it number 6? 30. Oh, 30. Oh, of course. Well, of course. All right. Well, that's a retired jersey. I know who that is.
Well, there you go.
All right. That's number 1. Okay.
Yeah, buddy. You already know, man. Hey, so, before you get to your selection,
this makes sense. This was a song that I recorded for the Sickle Cell Foundation, and I explain why in the intro to this. But this was the song I Feel Like Going On, and you can listen to it from there.
All right, let's go. Oh man, that was fabulous, man. Once again, yeah, I mean,
So-
you just keep coming with them, man. You know.
So we got to go to the YouTube and hear even more. So we encourage the listening audience to check out your YouTube channel, and get your new CD. Do you have any upcoming performances that we need to know about?
Depending on when people see this, I have been, now that COVID is kind of, tailing off, I've been asked to play for a number of weddings, funerals, anniversaries, so churches. I can't think of one on the top of my head. And a lot of these are private events, but I might be coming to your church, this Sunday or something.
We need to get you to our Minority Men's Health Fair next April the 27th, 2003, the Metro Health Minority Men's Health Fair. That's the next, the date for our next health fair.
Mm-hmm.
But
did you add weddings?
Good job, Dr. Modlin, with that.
Obed, did you add weddings? He played at my wedding.
Oh man,
I forgot that I played at your wedding.
Yeah.
I have a number of weddings. I have one coming up on the 30th. Terry Wilson, if you're listening, yeah, I'll be there. I'll show up on time and I'll play well. So I found that especially in the African American community, people know me for the violin more so than for the news. I mean, they say, yeah, you came and you played at my grandma's, homegoing service, or you played in my school, for career day. So, and that's okay. I realized that this was a gift, and I'm grateful. I thank God every day that, I can still play. Fingers, I don't have arthritis. Some of my peers, some of the people in my generation do. And he's just given me that ability to play. And so I'm going to play as much as I can.
Hey, can you walk us out with something, man?
Yeah, well, let me see. Here's one. I think I'll play the video of this because I set it up. This is the song "We Shall Overcome," right? But you have to picture a scene where it's a number of people and the lights are out and different age groups, and this is people from the struggle, from the civil rights struggle. And one of the old warriors starts singing, humming "We Shall Overcome," and then somebody else starts singing in harmony with them. And then everybody else kind of picks up and everybody starts singing. And it goes to this rousing chorus. And then out of all of that sound, you hear this little child's voice singing. And everybody stops and listens to them because they start shaking their heads and looking at one another because they know if she's got it, that means the struggle is going to go on. So this is "We Shall Overcome."
So before we play that, I want to just thank both of you, Obed and Tonya, for joining us on the platform, Music and Medicine. You've both been very inspirational and educational. And we thank the audience for tuning in, and stay tuned for our next episode as well. But we're going to hear Obed play us out here. And thanks for everybody for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Great show, everybody. Great show.
Great show. Yes.